Ryan's got places to be. He can't be here with us losers for 2 hours.
Are we live?
Yeah, we are. Ryan, stop doing that. Damn it. That's so loud and terrible. And you do that. Stop it. Oh my gosh. I'm going to blow a gasket live. It's going to be really ugly because Ryan keeps doing fucking nasal noises every show. Oh my gosh. I gotta open the chat. Oh, that's Ryan subscribed.
I just updated mine too, but I didn't share it in the chat.
I did.
You got to do it so you see the notch, Ryan. Come on.
Ooh. Click. It's probably gone by now. Too late. It's fine.
There's Ryan's.
Okay.
There's Ryan's notch.
Well, I can see the notch. Ryan? Am I there in time? I saw the notch.
It's pretty great. I can't wait until the Pixel 4 comes out and I get to make it bigger. Or I should make a different notch for when people give us bits. Could do the I don't know. What's another really obnoxious notch? Someone in the chat can probably answer
Pokephone.
that. Pokephone.
How about for bits, we just get a punch out, like the good old hole punch.
That's pretty good. That's actually a good idea.
But you can't fit a name on the hole punch. It's too small.
You could do that weirdo thing from the Galaxy Fold, the inside notch that's over to one side.
Oh my! Yes, that's so bad. I love it, and that can totally fit the whole like X gives X bits.
Yeah, okay, all right. Let's do this show thing. So everybody, shut your face. Hey, welcome to the Android Police Podcast. I'm Ryan Whitwam.
I'm Cody Toombs.
I'm Corbin Davenport.
And I'm Ryan Hager.
And this is Samsung week. Samsung did things this week, and most other companies didn't because they knew Samsung was going to do their thing. So if you don't care about Samsung, now is a good time to stop listening to the podcast. Also, subscribe to the podcast first and then stop listening. But if you do want to hear about Samsung, we got lots of Samsung for you, starting with the Galaxy S10, S10 Plus, S10e, and S10 5G. There are 4 versions of this phone.
There are. And before we go on, thank you, Tiny Taco, for subscribing. It's very kind of you. Okay, back to Samsung.
Yeah. So there are only 3 versions of the phone that you'll be able to buy that you can like pre-order right now. That's the S10, S10 Plus, and S10e. So the 10 and the 10 Plus, pretty self-explanatory. You know, you've seen lots of pictures of them. They've got the hole punch thing going on. The S10e is a slightly lower spec model of the S10, so it's just got a 1080p display. It only has 2 cameras on the back instead of 3.
Only
like
2.
The S10 and S10 Plus. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's only 2 cameras. But and it's also, it's a little bit smaller. I think it's like 5.8 inches,
something like that.
And then the S10 is like 6'1", and the S10 Plus is 6'4", 5", something like that. So yeah, I mean, so the S10 Plus, it has 2 front-facing cameras, which I think is kind of silly because one of them is just like it's like a depth sensor, but it's not. They're not using it for like, I don't think anything important. I think it's just like for
is it just for parallax? The second perspective,
for like portrait mode stuff, I think. And it's like a really big cutout. I think it looks kind of silly. I'm also kind of not sure like why Samsung still has like a chin on the bottom of the phone. I think it makes these phones look kind of not as nice.
Isn't it symmetrical with the top? I feel like the chin's not
quite. It's really? A little. It's noticeably larger on the bottom.
Looks like it depends on the phone.
Yeah, it's worse on the S10. The S10 Plus is closer, but they're all like slightly off, and it is visually upsetting for me.
Speaking of visually upsetting, the front cameras are not good, as everyone's been saying for the past 2 months. They're pretty unsightly, and that is probably the largest status bar I've ever seen on any phone in my life. It's quite intense.
It's a thing. I don't know if this hole punch thing is going to be any more desirable than a notch. It seems to take up more UI space.
It totally.
And that's like my main objection to giant notches. Like, why don't you just like nudge the cameras up a little bit, just put them up a little bit higher, and just like let the screen go down below it. It's not. I don't know. I think Samsung is just trying to be different for the sake of being different because they don't want to like directly do the the same thing that Apple is doing. Let's see. Oh, so ultrasonic fingerprint sensor also a thing. From what I have heard, David says that it's real bad. I have not personally used it yet, but David thinks that all in-display fingerprint sensors are bad. So
they are pretty bad.
Know. I mean, the 6T is fine.
I have no problems, but I know other people report having tons of issues with the one on the 6T.
Yeah, no, I've used a couple 6Ts, and like all of them have had totally fine fingerprint sensors.
For my 6T scanner is noticeably slower than the rear sensor on my 5T.
Well, that's definitely true.
And also, well, yeah, because it's like a downgrade almost. Like, why even put it under the screen?
It's like it's just like an ergonomic design thing. A lot of people prefer the sensors on the front, but that kind of screws up the design if you have a phone with like a taller screen. Like when Huawei released the P20, they still had a front-facing sensor, but it's on a giant chin at the bottom, and it's not in a comfortable spot. The spot where OnePlus has the fingerprint sensor under its display is actually a really natural place to set your thumb.
Yeah.
Like when you pick up the phone. I think it's probably even more natural than the location on the back of a lot of phones. A lot of phones put that too high or too low.
Although one interesting thing, or one thing worth pointing out, is that when you pick up the 6T and you rest your finger there, you also get the little indicator of where to put your finger, and you don't get that on the S10.
Yeah, I heard that. That is really ridiculous. That seems insane to me. It's super. They're going to have to add that in an update because it is going to annoy the crap out of people. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully the sensor is not as bad as David thinks. I think that there's something wrong with his fingers, but.
And it's kind of made worse because didn't David say that these phones don't have the iris scanning?
They do not. No, they dropped that. But that was like, man, that was never good. The field of view of those things is so narrow that
and if you had glasses, I think they defeated it anyway.
Yeah, they didn't work well with glasses at all.
So you just get lock screen, password, and a very not great fingerprint sensor. That's what this phone has.
Yeah, and so here's the thing. It's real expensive. The S10e is $750, which isn't bad, I think, for what you get.
But that's the starting price.
Yeah, the S10 is $900. The S10 Plus is $1,000. Starting prices. You can get versions with like more storage. Oof. It's very, very up there. I don't know about paying $900 for the S10. I think that's too much.
And I think I saw someone point out on Twitter the S10e is the same starting price as the S9 was at launch.
$750?
I thought they were more expensive than that, but I might be misremembering.
It might have been like just shy of 800. It might have been like 780 or something. I don't know.
I'll check it, but
yeah, but I mean, they're more expensive. I know that. I mean, the S9 Plus wasn't $1,000 because when the Note 9 came out and it was literally $1,000, everybody was like, "Well, this is a thing now." But yeah, and so those aren't even going to be like the most expensive versions. Like there's going to be the ceramic version of the S10 Plus that has 1 terabyte of storage and whatever, like 12 gigs of RAM. Corbin just crashed. Okay, he's back. And that's going to be whatever, like $1,300, which is silly. And then
nice though.
Maybe. And then there's going to be the S10 5G, which is, I'm sure, going to be even more expensive. So that phone, like Samsung, is just going all out and doing crazy stuff. It's gonna have a 6.7-inch display, 6 cameras, a 4,500 milliamp hour battery. It's probably going to need the big battery because it's going to have 2 modems. It's going to have the X50 5G modem, and it's going to be exclusive to Verizon at first. It will come to other carriers later. They said like later in the summer, so I bet Verizon's going to get it like June, because they said the first half of the year. I bet it's going to be like very close to the end of the first half, and then like late summer, I guess we'll get the other carrier versions. And that's the way it's going to be for this first gen of 5G phones. They're going to be carrier specific. Even if they were unlocked, they're just not going to work on other carriers' 5G networks, because that is the nature of the X50 modem and the somewhat fragmented state of the early 5G networks. So I'm sure it's going to cost a lot of money dollars, and it's not going to work many places, and you probably should not buy it, even if you have the option.
Yeah. And Ron Amadio mentioned in the Twitch chat that the starting price for the small S9 was $720 and the S9 Plus was $840.
Yeah, this is a big price jump.
This is quite the price hike.
Yeah. This is,
well, on the plus side, it's only going to take a few weeks, maybe a couple months, and those prices are going to be like taking a nosedive.
I mean, after that, so like after the pre-order return window closes, there will definitely be a BOGO on most carriers. That'll be a thing.
And that, to be fair, that's probably only going to be for these really standard models.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Anything that's got any sort of real perk to it, the 5G, the ceramics, any of those prices are going to stay really high.
I mean, I think the prices are still going to be pretty high most of the time for at least a couple of months, unless Samsung sees like really poor sales, then they might start knocking more off of the price. I don't know for sure.
They might have already anticipated not having sales, and they've, as a result, just not overproduced. Because I think that in their last set of projections, they were looking forward to a weaker year.
Yeah, I mean, and they might be thinking like the people who buy the phones, they're, you know, like the number of people who aren't going to buy it if it's 800 versus 720 or 900 versus 720 is, you know, small enough that if we just charge that much more for the phone, then we won't lose that much money. They're probably, I mean, they're making more per every unit sold, I'm sure. So I don't know, but still, like, it's just kind of a dumb trend. I would really like to see phones not cost $1,000.
Yeah, and this time around, they are doing some somewhat okay offers when you buy it. Like, I know when you buy, I don't know if it's for all the S10s, but for at least some of them, you do get the Galaxy Buds for free, which is like, okay.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'd still much rather them not cost $1,000. That would be preferable.
Yeah, that'd be great. They have the wireless power thing, which I think is a fun gimmick. It's going to look really good in ads, but it's going to be terrible in real life.
It's
going to be so inefficient. It's just going to wreck your phone battery. You're not actually going to want to use this.
Well, it depends on what you're using it for. If it's for headphones or something like that,
that'd still be a really slow way to charge.
Yeah, but it's better than having no way to charge it.
I mean, like you take your phone, you put it face down, you put your earbuds on it, and then you just stare at it. You wait for your for your stuff to charge.
You think of all the music you could be listening to. Now, do we know if you can put the earbuds themselves on the phone, or do you have to put
the case?
The case. Okay, so imagine how much power is being lost from charging from your phone to the case, and then the case to the earbuds.
Well, the earbuds, I assume, have like physical contacts inside the case. But I mean, like just like wireless charging is not super efficient, and when you're using your phone battery for that, it's just such a waste. And
you know, if they were going to do something like this, I know it doesn't look as cool in ads, but they could have just put a male Type-C connector on the case. So you could just plug it in like a cartridge almost, and just let it charge that way. But no,
I'm suddenly picturing the Apple Pencil sticking out of the iPad.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
I mean, it's got better or worse. You can just get a Type-C cable and plug it into the phone.
That's true. Could do that.
Okay. Do we have anything else about the S10 that we want to talk about or complain about?
I want to point out that I wish we could do fun colors in not just the cheap phones. Like that yellow
S10 was pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know why that's only limited to. I guess is yellow for poor people. I don't understand this. I would like more fun colors on all my phones.
The cheap iPhone is only available.
But even there's only one fun color option. There's a yellow. Like whatever. It's not even that interesting.
Yeah. I mean, where's my green?
It's more fun than most of them. Okay.
That's my only complaint.
Okay. So now is the time in the show when we tell you how you should give us money.
Please do give us money.
So if you enjoy the show and you want to support us and help us keep doing it, we would like it if you would consider subscribing to us on Twitch. That's where we stream the show every week. It's twitch.tv/AndroidPolice. Of course, you can subscribe, quote unquote, and just get notifications when we're like doing the show. But a premium subscription, which is free for you if you have an Amazon Prime account, gives us money. It helps us do the show. And it doesn't cost you anything extra. You're already paying for Prime. You get a free subscription. You just have to re-up it every month. It's super easy and cool. And we have instructions on our Twitch page that will explain how you link your account and subscribe. And on the plus side, if you subscribe while we are live, then you can see in the video a notch. Pixel 3 XL style notch will appear on top of the video with your name on it. And if we see you in the chat room subscribing, we will also talk about how cool you are.
Yes.
That's what you get. That's the kind of service you can expect on the Android Police podcast.
You can't expect that.
Also, you get a Rhine face emoji, which is way more cool than it sounds like. Trust me. It's pretty good emoji.
It is fun.
Yeah. All right. So right now, let's go back to talking about Samsung. More Samsung stuff. A phone that is even more expensive. The Galaxy Fold is going to cost almost $2,000. $2,000.
Wow, that's. Yeah,
they said the word luxury, I think 5 or 6 times before they got to the price. It's like they were prepping you, like, hey, just FYI, nobody's going to buy this phone because it's $2,000.
Well, I mean, we all knew this would be like a really stupid, expensive concept phone, but that is quite the shock.
The pricing leaks before were like $1,700, and everybody was like, "That's really expensive," and now they're like, "No, it's even more expensive." So we've seen this phone before, but it was in like a giant blocky case to like hide the shape of it. But it's pretty much like what we expected. So on the outside is a tiny, like a 4.6 inch. Display. It's got giant bezels all the way around, and like I know, like 4.6 inches doesn't sound tiny, but it is so narrow and tall. It's only 3 icons wide, like on the home screen. It looks super unpleasant to use. But then of course you open it, and it's like a 7.3 inch display. It's like an iPad Mini basically. And so this is going to launch with Pi, which I think is interesting because it definitely has new Android things going on that I think we were under the impression were going to be part of Q, and I'm sure will be. So Samsung is working with Google to do like some custom stuff here that isn't going to be available on other devices yet. So you can, like, when you are using an app on the outside, you open the device, you unfold it, and that app will be on the big screen. And you can like split the display between 3 apps. You have like a big app on the left, and then like the right third of the screen is split between 2 other apps, like one on top of the other. It seems like, I think it looks neat. I don't know if it looks like something I would ever actually want to do.
The one thing that was surprising to me when they were doing the live demonstration was how thick this phone is. It's like it's like you're holding a Nintendo DS, really.
Yeah. It's basically 2 phones thick. Like, just take 2 phones and like hold them together. That's how thick this phone is.
And the front bezels, I know there's like the technical reason why they have to be ginormous, but it's still really funny to it's like we're going backwards 8 years.
There's also there's a gigantic notch on the inside screen. Like in the top right corner, it's like an entire like segment of the display is cut out for the cameras. It's just,
I don't know why you need cameras on the.
I don't know either. I don't think you do. I think that was a mistake. But
and I guess if you need really big video calls, I don't know. It's quite the notch.
I'm very interested that this device is going to be a thing. Samsung's actually going to sell it. I don't know. I don't know who's going to buy it. I don't think it's going to be good, but it'll be interesting. I'm interested to see more foldable phones. I would like these to become a thing that you can actually use and like. I don't know when or if that will happen, but this is definitely not going to be, a likable device.
I mean, I'd like to buy it, but not for $2,000.
I would like to not buy it. I do not want to buy this for money. Okay. Because I think it's going to be bad. It's going to be a first gen product.
It is going to be very bad.
Super broken. I would recommend don't spend money on this.
And also, I really wonder how terrible the battery life on this is going to be, because the battery capacity is only 4,000 milliamps, but it's powering 2 screens. And not the
you have it open.
Yeah, not at the same time. And then also they're making a 5G version of this, which is going to use even more battery.
Yeah, that's.
I have to imagine the foldable might not last you a day.
I'm kind of imagining where the battery life on this is going to be measured in big screen on time versus little screen on time. Because you're going to have to. I mean, really, because that little screen is not going to take that much probably. But wow, that big screen when it's open, that's going to be brutal.
I would be interested to see when people get this, like what's the usage between little screen and big screen? Because to me, that little screen looks terrible to use. Not like it's very small, and now Android apps are all built for big phones. So using anything that you have to watch or read content on, it's going to be useless on that tiny screen. So you're going to have to use the big screen for most stuff.
And that's not, I mean, and that's like a two-hand experience. That's not convenient either. This is like the worst of both worlds.
Yeah, I am much more looking forward to the foldable that Xiaomi teased, where it just...
I thought that looked neat.
Yeah.
I don't know if it looks practical, because look, these phones are not gonna have glass displays because they fold. It's gonna be plastic of some manner, and I don't think that's gonna be sufficiently scratch resistant that I really want the display on the outside of the device. Yeah. But
this is definitely feels like the more durable approach, because the big screen is never exposed to the elements.
Yeah, I guess
unless you shut it with something in there.
Yeah, I mean, you take it to the beach and shut it.
Here's the thing. When Samsung announced the first Galaxy Note, I said, well, that's stupid. Nobody's going to want that. I was very wrong about that. So maybe I'm wrong about this. I don't know. I guess we'll see. You guys, are you guys frozen, or you just have nothing to say?
I'm sorry. I have nothing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I don't know how you
respond.
I just honestly, I don't know how you follow that,
so that we can make fun of you for being wrong again.
I'll be honest. I was about to reload my tab because I thought Hangouts froze again.
Right. Okay. Cody, do you have something to add to our Galaxy Fold discussion?
Well, I don't know. I actually thought when the Note was announced that it would be a good thing and it would be popular, but at the time, honestly, I thought it was going to be like a thing mostly women were picking up. I did not foresee it becoming as big as it did. It's a great technology. It's a great idea. It's just, man, it's going to take 3, 4, 5 years of iterations before this doesn't kind of suck.
Yeah.
It just has that big run up time before it'll ever be good.
Okay, so Samsung also announced some new wearables. There's a Watch Active and the new Fit. The Fit is super boring. We're not even going to talk about it. It's a thing. Who cares? The Watch Active, well, it's kind of interesting in that Samsung took away the thing that I liked most about its wearables, the rotating bezel. Why would they do that? That seems crazy. But so it's going to cost $200, I think, right? Yeah, $200. So it's a lot cheaper than the last gen watches.
And it's also cheaper than pretty much every other fitness watch. It's $50 cheaper than the Fossil Sport, which seems like this is kind of the main competitor, like smartwatch wise. And then also it's significantly cheaper than the Apple Watch. But I imagine most people probably get this for their Samsung phone.
Yeah, I mean, it works. I mean, they work with any Android phone or iPhone. And I mean, I feel like Samsung's app situation on Tizen is just like, it's not good enough. It's not like you need a ton of apps for your watch, but man, they've got nothing. It's just an absolute wasteland.
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably going to buy this at some point just because everyone keeps saying great things about Tizen. And I've never owned a Tizen watch, so I feel like I should try it once.
I wonder how much they've had to like change the UI, because it was so dependent on the rotating bezel before. Like a lot of it was like radial, and like it made sense with that
maybe UI they're doing the thing Fossil tried, where they're like the bezel itself, like you can make rotating gestures with it, and it's like a virtual thing.
They're going the iPod Classic route.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if they're doing that here. I couldn't tell from the
said that if they were
limited information. But I know the main reason a lot of people were excited for this is that it has a blood pressure monitor, which the Fossil Sport doesn't have. I think most fitness stuff doesn't have, because you have to, apply pressure to your arm. I'm not sure how well that works, but I imagine Samsung wouldn't put it on the watch if it was completely broken.
Samsung has never rolled out something broken. Never. There has never been a feature on any of its devices that didn't work as intended.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Also, they're sticking with what they did with the Galaxy Watch, where they're doing Samsung Pay with no MagStripe support.
Yeah,
which kind of stinks.
That so I'm sure that's because of size. It takes up a lot of space inside the device. They did it on the Gear S3, and that was a big chunky watch. This is a much smaller device, so I can understand why they didn't do it logistically, but it is like a bummer because that's nice to have. But NFC is getting more common now, so maybe that's not a big deal.
It's not as big of a deal as it was 5 years ago.
Well, and MST always kind of had a ticking clock on it. Between just the inevitability that NFC would catch on and catch up, and also to some extent, like retailers like Walmart have been actively blocking it in whatever ways that they have. So, you know, the need for that has slipped.
Like they block MST? How?
I could explain it. It's really actually pretty simple, but maybe not right now.
Yeah, it's we can just settle on like it's a thing that happens and it sucks. Target, yeah, somebody said in the chat room, Target has Android Pay now. Yes, they turned on the NFC in their terminals that they got after they lost everybody's credit card number. So that was fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can pay with your phone at Target stores now.
Yeah, so now the big holdout is Walmart.
Yeah.
Which I haven't used it.
I mean, you know how you can actually get around this is just not go to Walmart.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's the good thing to do.
Okay. Anything else about the Watch Active?
Nope.
Nope. All right.
Now we're going for everyone.
We're going to move on to non-Samsung news.
What?
We're done with Samsung.
Inconceivable.
It's over. We're going to talk about AT&T being dumb, which is kind of AT&T's default state. But they're being extra dumb right now because they're rolling out updates to people's phones that change the signal indicator to 5GE. It's 5GE. That's 5G evolution. A term that they came up with last year, I think. They
said we really not have a podcast in 2 weeks?
We didn't.
No, because last week was Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's true.
Yes, we didn't do that. Yeah, because Valentine's Day, we all had stuff.
So I was going to say, this feels really old, but...
It's from the 8th.
That's why.
Yeah, we're just going to talk about it real quick because I want to make fun of AT&T. Because I remember when they announced this branding, like we had a meeting with AT&T at... I guess it was MWC last year. And I asked their marketing person, like, don't you think that this branding is misleading and silly? And of course, I expected him to like deny it. But he was like, no, we think that this is super clear and consumers will understand what it means. I just wanted to hear that for myself because I couldn't believe somebody would actually say it. But they were super adamant that, nobody's going to be confused that 5G is the same as 5G. But I think people are going to be very, very confused by that. And Sprint is suing them now because they think that's their goal is to make people think they have 5G when they don't.
This is, well, I expect it to happen on Android phones because carriers are ultimately responsible for updates on those phones. But I was very surprised to see that in the latest, I think, like iOS beta or whatever, the iPhones are now displaying the fake 5G symbol.
Carrier stuff, it's a lot more important to Apple than it used to be.
Granted, Apple did do this however many years ago when AT&T was doing it was 4G, right?
Yeah, it was AT&T and T-Mobile were both. T-Mobile, I think, did it first actually, where they said HSPA Plus is now 4G. They just decided one day, which is it was bad then, and it's bad now to call LTE 5G.
Yeah. Well, I was especially surprised to see Apple roll over and be okay with that, but I don't know.
It's just the 5G is enough of a mess without like muddying the waters even more. AT&T dumb.
Yeah, well, I guess that's part of the problem where the fake 5G is the only 5G people will see for probably the next couple of years. This is going to be a while on that rollout.
Yeah.
Especially if you like to be inside buildings.
Yeah, I mean...
Not getting that 5G signal.
Yeah, that's just not, unless you're in a building that has like an indoor 5G network. That's what companies think you're going to start to see.
I mean, it depends on what you end up using, if it's the millimeter wave or if they implement 5G over a lower frequency.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm sure, like, a lot of carriers are eventually going to roll out lower frequencies for their 5G network, but that's not going to be anywhere near as fast.
Yeah.
T-Mobile is adamant that their initial rollout will include 600 megahertz for better indoor access, but
it'll only improve latency, really.
Yeah, millimeter wave is like the fast 5G that you want, but your hand will block that.
You want, yeah.
That's why all the 5G phones that come out, they're going to have like 4 or 5 antennas, because depending on how you're holding the phone, you will block the signal.
And propagation is going to be the they need to have more sites. It's going to be garbage for years.
It's going to take a long time to get saturation. They can't just upgrade the 4G sites that they have. They're going to have to roll out a lot new ones, and any kind of like large indoor environment like a stadium or convention center or whatever is going to need indoor network technology to make 5G accessible, which is going to, it's going to be a mess for.
And you probably won't even have it at home.
Yeah.
Unless you put one in your bedroom.
Yeah, I mean, it's
we're back to the days of what like 5 years ago, where you could buy a little T-Mobile tower and stick it in your house.
I think they were giving those away. I don't even think you had to pay for that.
I know somebody who got one because it was a router. It was a router that also gave you.
There was the router. That was a different thing. Like there was the router that was optimized for the Wi-Fi calling, and then there was the thing that plugged into your internet that was like a tiny cell tower. Yeah, it was a femtocell. Somebody said in the chat, that is the actual name of the device. Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if something like that starts happening, because
you need it.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw it last year. I saw a demo at a Motorola thing where they had their like prototype 5G mod set up, and they had like a prototype 5G cell tower like across the room, and it was like this big, like it was a big testing chamber with all this stuff on the walls to keep out external interference. And the engineers were like visibly giddy when they got it working, and they were able to get like 3 gigabits to pass like to the mod that was across the room. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then one of the engineers waved his hand between them, and the signal just went away, just stopped entirely. I was like, oh boy, that seems like a problem. Yeah. He was like, no, but like in final, like it's gonna have like band steering, and there will be technologies to help compensate for this, but like nothing's gonna make it work inside.
That's great. I can't wait for next year when AT&T will start sending out actual towers, like tower-sized towers, to people and be like, please put this in your house.
Put this on your roof, please.
Yeah. We need a little help boosting the signal.
Yeah, and if you could point it up the street, that would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like we saw you have a radar dish. Just put it on that, please.
Okay, so let's move on, and we're just going to remind you quickly to subscribe to the podcast. It's free if you have Amazon Prime. You should do it because it helps us, keep doing the show. And we're going to talk about kind of an interesting smart home product thing that Corbin reviewed. These GE smart light bulbs that they just plug right into Google Home.
Yes, so I reviewed the CE Life Smart Bulb by GE, which is a little bit confusing because GE also sells smart stuff under this name that's completely unrelated and doesn't interconnect. So if you want to buy one of these, we have the links to the actual real bulbs in the bottom of the review. But these are neat because, as far as I know, these are the only smart devices you can set up using only the Google Home app. So when you plug these in, you go to the Google Home app and go to add a new device, and they'll show up right there. And these don't use Wi-Fi or some of the other common smart home protocols like Zigbee. What happens is that this is very commonly sold in a bundle with a Google Home Mini. And this light actually uses a Google Home or a Google Home Mini as the hub to connect to your internet. So as long as you have a Google Home somewhat close to the bulb, it'll work.
So how does it communicate? Is it Bluetooth or
it's mesh?
Yeah.
Huh. And I tried the range. I left my Google Home up here and took the light bulb down a level, and it still worked. So the range seems perfectly fine for most people. And again, like in a lot of cases, you're going to have the Google Home in the same room as the light. Like you're going to put it like in your bedroom with the Google Home, so you can do voice commands. But no, this light is actually really nice. It's pretty cheap. Like I think now it's $25 for a 2-pack. It even got down to $20 for a 2-pack, like right after we reviewed it, which was pretty crazy. But these are really cheap. They work great. Also, they're dimmable, which is really nice. I was using just my lamp with a normal light bulb with a smart switch before, and this is better because I can actually dim it.
Yeah. This got our most wanted award. So
yes, it's
very strongly recommend.
Yes, it's very rare you find a smart home device that doesn't have some like really annoying catch to it, and this works and it's cheap. So.
Yeah. Oh, and thank you to Dr. Juice 164 who just subscribed. He's my new favorite. Everybody, all of the listeners, Dr. Juice 164 is my favorite.
Someone has a dog barking.
That's me. I'm sorry.
You don't have a dog.
My window's not open. I don't.
Did a dog get into your apartment somehow?
No, it's like 40 feet away. That is a loud dog.
The dog likes the light bulb. That's what he's
trying to turn my mic here. How's that? Shit. How's that? How's that?
Still on? We're just hearing Ryan fondle his microphone.
Android Police ASMR.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. So I think we've got one more thing that we're going to talk about this week, and it is a contentious issue, apparently. So I wrote a thing that I just published today about Moto mods and how I think that they have been a bad thing for Motorola. The initial comments were very supportive, and then somehow somebody alerted everybody who owns Moto mods that this post existed, and they all showed to tell me how much they love their Moto mods, even when they're broken. Somebody was like, "Hey, the Pi update broke my Hasselblad camera, but it's okay. I still love Moto mods." Which, okay, I don't really believe those people are serious. Somebody told me that their Hasselblad camera mod was the same as having a multi-$1,000 camera, like standalone camera. I don't believe that person either. People tell me how much they love the projector, and I definitely don't believe that.
No, it's a pretty terrible projector because I have a portable one with the same brightness and I can barely watch anything.
Yeah, so people should go and read the article because I think I made my point rather eloquently, if I do say so myself. Yes. Feel free to agree with me, by the way, everybody.
And for the people listening to the audio version, the links to everything we talk about is in the show description, so you don't even have to Google it. We've made it really easy for you to leave a comment on Ryan's article telling him how wrong he is.
I would love it if you would do that. There are 217 comments right now. I would say about half of them are like violently against my perspective. But okay, so look, the problem with Moto mods is that there were never any good ones. They never came out with any good mods. They've hardly come out with any mods in the last year. The only one they launched in 2018 was the cheap speaker. They announced the 5G mod. It still hasn't come out. The year before that, they said they were going to release 12 mods. They launched like 4. And some of those were just new versions of ones they'd already had. There just hasn't been anything good. Every mod that you can get, there are other versions of that accessory. They're just connected to the back of your phone, which is not really as convenient as you would think because they're all huge. None of them will fit in your pocket. Like the batteries, you could maybe make the argument like, yeah, no, sure, I'll attach the battery and leave it in my pocket. But like the phone gets thick and heavy when you do that. It's not fun to carry around. And if you don't have it connected, what are you just gonna like carry a bunch of like mod accessories for your phone? Like Verizon literally made, I did not remember this was a thing until Steven reminded me it existed. Verizon made a carrying case for mods. It looks like a little camera bag. It has little pockets for your mods.
Oh my god, it's like a little action.
That anybody thought this needed to exist should tell you everything you need to know about Moto mods. It's just, I feel like Motorola had the best of intentions, but then they realized like, oh, we don't actually have any like good ideas that people are going to want to buy, that it's going to make sense to spend the time and money to develop them.
What really bugs me is that obviously the most compelling use case for these is the battery. But at that point, just buy a phone with a bigger battery, because I have, like, again, I haven't done any research on this, but wouldn't having the battery mod on your phone all the time just ruin the internal battery?
So they have an efficiency mode where it only charges your internal battery up to like 80 or 85%, I forget.
Okay.
And then they have the mode where it goes all the way up to the top. So you don't want to run it in that ladder mode all the time.
Right.
But the thing is, like it's just charging your phone. It's not like expanding the size of your internal battery. It's not an efficient way to do this. And so, like, the Moto phones, they make them very thin to try and, like, compensate for the giant mods, but nothing's going to save you from, like, attaching this battery to the back of your phone. It's not comfortable.
Yeah.
And so Motorola's phones are a couple millimeters thinner than most other phones in the price ranges right now. So they have smaller batteries. The battery life isn't as good. Actually, the first gen Moto Z, people liked that because it had a 3,500 milliamp hour battery, which for the time was very large. And then the second gen, they made it smaller and thinner. Yeah. And they're like, here, just buy a mod. And then third gen, they're like, we'll give you a mod in the box. Just please buy it. It just strikes me as like it's like desperation for Motorola, and they don't have any good use case for these.
The one that I do like, and the one that I would buy if I had one of these phones, is the game controller one. That's the only one.
The game controller mod is nice as a piece of hardware, but there aren't really a lot of Android games that support controllers.
Well, I would just use it with emulators.
Yeah.
I don't think I play any phone games that support controllers.
Yeah, if you just want, like, to play emulators, and sure, buy that, but buy it on sale, because I think it was like $80 like retail, and that was way too much.
I'm not buying a Motorola phone because they don't update anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it's a problem that these phones, the mods are so expensive. They're more expensive than the non-mod versions of these same accessories. Like, you could buy a power bank with fast charging that works with this phone and a bunch of other phones with a larger capacity for less money than you would spend on the battery mod, which is just not really as convenient as you think it's going to be. I don't want to walk around with a phone in my pocket that weighs more than 200 grams. It's like 230 grams, the Z3 Play, which is what I weighed when I was writing this, with the included battery mod, which is the smallest one. It's over 200 grams. I think it's like 220. And it's almost 12 millimeters thick.
Oh my goodness. And then the one that cracks me up every time is the Hasselblad mod, which is actually worse than the camera on the...
It's a white label, like, Chinese point and shoot camera sensor crammed into something with the Hasselblad name on it, and it is bad. It's just real bad.
Yeah, I think I had rumors about supposedly they were going to have that one where it was going to be a camera sensor, but it was going to have a mounting plate that could be used with other proper lenses.
That was crazy nonsense. Obviously,
that would make me buy one of these phones.
Exactly, that would have been assuming again that Motorola would ever actually put out good software, update their phones, and that it would actually work. Like, this whole contraption was going to work well, which all of those things I think were a long shot.
So there's also $150 Alexa mount. It turns it into like a very rudimentary smart display. But you know what else you can get for $150? A home hub, an actual smart display.
Yeah.
There are just all kinds. There are myriad issues here, and I don't think that Motorola is making the case that mods are a good idea. I think that Motorola is trapped by their Verizon partnership. They have agreed to make this 5G mod, and they're going to have to keep doing mods for, I don't know, at least maybe one more year. They won't even tell us, like, if they're going to keep supporting mods. They said 3 years of support, which, depending on how you understand that statement, could be up this coming year, or it might be another year. They won't even say.
Yeah.
So the 5G mod is supposed to happen this spring, but they won't give us any specifics.
Yeah. Well, we were all surprised when what was it? The renders or something came out for the Z4, and we were all shocked that
that was a leak. We don't know for sure if that is going to be a thing. Okay. But yeah, I mentioned that in the article. That I'm I wouldn't be surprised if they do another round of Moto mods, because Motorola might be kind of requiring it of them. But I don't know. I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to do it for Motorola. It's not going to be what saves them going into the future.
Well, what saves them is Brazil and India buying the Moto G phones.
I mean, and
that's their lifeblood.
Motorola is better positioned in 5G than some smartphone manufacturers. So, I mean, they might have some success as 5G networks mature, but I don't think that any success they have will be thanks to Moto mods or this 5G mod. It's a Verizon vanity project that Motorola has been, drawing into.
That's every 5G phone so far.
Yeah, probably.
Also, I like after your the discussion about making the phone smaller and with smaller battery. I think it's like the third top comment on the review where it says, I recently bought the Z3 because of the mod, specifically the 35 milliamp battery. I am personally tired of ultra thin, ultralight phones with crappy batteries. But he bought a Z3.
The Z3 has a smaller battery than most phones. Like, if you want to like slap a mod on it, it has much more longevity, and it's gigantic.
And there are a ton of phones with 35 milliamp or bigger batteries. That isn't like super rare. But okay. He's showing us he's got his projector mod. Yeah. No, I love the comment I pasted in the Slack where someone was like, you were paid to have this opinion.
Like, Arvin pays me to write things. That's actually how working is, usually handled. People pay you to do work. Or unless I'm sure he meant that some shadowy cabal of anti-mod enthusiasts paid me money to write a hit piece on mods because, I don't know, they have some interest in that happening.
We're obviously shorting mod stock.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. All right. So I think that's the end of our topic list. We actually plowed through that pretty quickly. Yeah. All right. So does anybody have anything else they want to talk about this week?
I got some pretty good stew going. Anyway, I'm gonna go eat it a bit.
Okay.
I'm happy to hear that. Okay. All right, then I guess we'll call it for the week. So just a reminder, everybody, you can watch us do this live every week on the Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/AndroidPolice, and you can subscribe to help us keep doing the show. If you've got Amazon Prime, it's free for you, and we have instructions on how to do it on the page. Also, if you want to talk to us during the show, there's a Twitch chat. That's the only one that we watch now. Don't talk to us on YouTube. We won't see it. But that's it, everybody.
They can't talk on YouTube. We turned off the chat.
Oh, we did? Okay, good. All right. Well, that's it, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.
Good night, everybody.
Ryan.